Now I am so excited today. This is a fabulous project we're about to do. Now my name is Lynn, but I'm better known as Nana Lynn by all the children on my classes. I'm a professional artist and a qualified teacher, and I've been teaching for many years. I'd like to make my content in my drawing classes as accessible as possible for all learners. And I would appreciate any feedback on how I can do that in the future. And if you would like auto-generated subtitles on this video, please go to the 3 dots in the corner and select captions. Okay. Anyway, let's get started on this fun drawing, shall we? See you in the studio. Bye-bye for now.
So, how about drawing a robot with me today? Would you like that? And we can use colouring crayons just like these to colour them in. Don't forget you need a pencil to draw it first of all. And maybe a rubber as well if you make a little mistake. We all make mistakes. So how about we get started? So the first thing we want to do is draw some feet. Let's get some feet in. What can our robot feet look like? Well, I think we'll do a nice round, half round curve like that. Can you do that? Yes, not difficult, is it? And we'll do a straight line at the bottom. That's not difficult, is it? Let's do another one here. Big curve right at the bottom of the page here. Another curve and another straight line. I bet you didn't find that difficult, did you? Okay, so now we've got his feet drawn. What do we do next? Well, we could put him some legs, give him some legs, couldn't we? So let's give him some legs. But I think what we could do, as it's a robot, we could make them look like springs, like coil springs. So let's do one here, starting here, and we draw it to here. We're going to do a curly, 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 curly curl. Can you do that? Yeah, I know you can. Let's do another one this other side. Curly, 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 curl. There, we've got 2 curly legs all drawn in. Really easy, wasn't it? So what do we do next? Well, we need to give him a body, don't we? So how about giving him an oblong shaped body? That would work nicely, wouldn't it? So let's draw the first line here at the top of his legs, and that's a straight line about there. How's that? That's not too difficult, is it? Now let's give him a little curve here. 2 nice curves. And let's go up a line, up a line, give him another curve at the top, and another curve here, and another straight line. How's that? Can you draw that oblong with those nice curves at the sides? Now, of course, you can pause your video anytime you want and just copy and do your drawing. So what I want you to do is, I'll draw a bit, you draw a bit, I'll draw a bit, you draw a bit. So you can keep stopping the video and pausing the video so that you can catch up with me. Now, he looks very flat now, doesn't he? So I'm going to give you a little tip about how you can make your robot look a little bit more real. Give him a bit more of a thick body, a shape to his body. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a little curve from this corner here. Can you see that curve? And we're going to do a straight line over here. I'm going to another curve. We're following basically what we already have drawn, aren't we? Then we're going to take another straight line down and a curve there. Now doesn't his body look more solid, looks more real, doesn't it? So he doesn't look all flat. Maybe we could do that with his feet as well. We could do a curve there, bringing that around and curve it in. And we can give him, again, a curve here, bring him round. And we can't see him that side. We can't see this line this side because we've got the leg in the way, haven't we? But that's okay. Now we've got, it looks more solid, doesn't he? He looks more 3-dimensional. Have you ever heard that word? 3-dimensional? That's what the world looks like, doesn't it? It's all got shapes. It's all rounded and squared and oblong shapes in it. So we're going to make him look that way, aren't we? We're going to give him that kind of look. So now we want to give him a head, don't we? We've got his feet, his legs, his body. We could put in his arms next, but I would like to put in his head next. So let's put his head a little bit above. Now, shall we do it an oblong shape again? I think it would look fun. But let's make the head bigger than the body. Now that's strange, isn't it? But then robots are quite interesting and strange in lots of ways. And we can make them any shape that we want. So I'm going to do another oblong shape like this. So start off with the line. Make it a bit bigger. Make it a bit bigger than the body. Do the curve. Come up. Straight line. Nice curve. No, this, oops, I made a mistake there, didn't I? So I'm going to rub that out. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Curve, straight line, curve, straight line, and another curve. Now we've got his head. But again, we want him to look like he's got a solid body, not flat. So let's do the same as we did here up on his head. So start off with a curve, straight line, curve, straight line, curve. And now we've got his head. Oh, I'm liking the shape of this little robot. Are you? Is your shape coming on nicely, your robot too? I bet it is. How about we now give him a neck? He does look a bit funny with his head floating, doesn't he? So I think we will give him a really big coil for his neck, just like his legs, but big. He looks like he could be bouncy, doesn't he, now he's got his coils in there? Okay, now we've got his body. What about now we could put in his arms? And he definitely needs to have coils for his arms as well. So start here in this thick part of the body and draw in a coil for an arm. That looks good, doesn't it? Should we do on the other side? Start about here, a little bit further down here, and give him another coil for an arm. Oh, I love these little coily arms. Now, what about hands? How about we give him these funny little... Don't forget we need to give him a thumb. So let's give him a thumb. And do a curve here. And a straight line. So we do it again. We do a thumb, curve, straight line, curve the other side, and straight line. How's that? That looks good, I think, doesn't it? Okay. Now we have his hands in, and we have his arms, and his legs, and his feet, and his body, and his neck, and his head. Now we can design some interesting things on him, couldn't we? He could have nuts and bolts. He could have antennae. What about that? Should we give him an antennae first of all? Okay, well, let's start off with, okay, let's give him some, how can we give him an antennae? We could do this line here, a line here, and a line here. And we could do a line there. We don't want that line in there, so I'm going to rub that line out first, because you wouldn't see that line behind the antennae, would you? That's a little tip. You can always rub out something that you don't want to use in there. So that line that we put in, we can take out, and we can just put in that antennae. But we want to give it some three-dimensional look, just like we've given three-dimensional look to the body on the robot. So let's do that. Little straight line there at an angle, a little straight line there, a little straight down line there, and a little straight line there. Now we've done that straight, didn't we? We didn't give it curves because this is the antennae and not the head or the body. Now what can we do? How can we make the antennae look like an antennae?
I think his galactic sound waves going through the air to his friends. What do you think?
Anyway, let's give him a big round ball at the top, just like that. Does that look like an antennae on your robot? Anyway, let's now think about the eyes and the face. Oh, what shall we do? I know, I'm going to give him big, big eyes. So let's do a big oval in the head and another big oval for the other eye here. So 2 big ovals. Can you do that? Yes, I know you can. Doesn't matter if they're exactly the same shape and size. Something similar is fine. Now let's give him his pupils in his eyes. Let's do a big pupil there and a big pupil there. That looks good, doesn't it? And in the very center, we're going to do a coloured in one with the pencil there. That's like right in the middle of the eye there and there. Oh, I like those eyes. They're fun, aren't they? Now, robots tend to have lots of nuts and bolts, don't they? Because they're kind of made of metal. On the whole, they're made of metal. So should we give our robots some nuts and bolts? Yes, I think that would be a good idea. Okay, I'm going to draw a line here in the corner. So now we've got the angle here and an angle there, angle here and an angle there. So we need to put a line in there as well. So now our robot's looking quite good. I think he needs a few bolts now, doesn't he? So let's put a bolt there and a line, a bolt there and a line, maybe a bolt here. Doesn't have to have the same number of bolts on each side. He could be a little bit lopsided. I think that looks good. Now, what about a bolt for a nose? So we have a big nose, circle and a round bit. A round circle with that line in the middle. Makes it look like bolts. And how about some little nails for a mouth? Make him look smiley. So it's just little dots. And those can be tiny little nails. Now, what about in his... Oh, I'll tell you what we've forgotten. We forgot to give him any ears, haven't we? We do need to give him some ears. Oh, well, should we give him some ears a bit like the antennae? Let's just do a little oval in there. And we won't see it on that side, will we? Because he's slightly at an angle. Now, what about his body? Shall we give him something on his body? What do you think we should put on his body? Let's give him a big telly screen. So we could do another oblong inside. Remember the oblong and curves at the sides? Just doing that same oblong shape with the curves at the side. We've got now like a television screen in there. And we could give him some bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they could be like the knobs on the telly, couldn't they? And again, to put the lines through, make it look like it's bolts. Now we want one more thing in there.
He's sending one more message. Ziggy-zag, ziggy-zag, ziggy-zag.
There we go. How's that? He's not a bad robot, is he? I think he looks quite fun and quite cute. I think he looks like his nose looks like he's got a beak, but that's fine too. Maybe, I'll tell you what we'll do to stop it looking like a beak. We'll rub out that line in the middle. Make that circle again. Make the line go down the other side. That works probably better. Yes, I think that works better. What do you think? Okay, now you can stop the video and pause the video and you can catch up with my drawing and see that you've got it all as you want it to be. And don't worry if it's slightly different, that's fine too. Now that our robot is all drawn, we need to do some colouring in. So let's see, what colour shall we do him? Well, you can choose any colour you want. Here I've got this nice turquoise colour. I'm going to start with this nice turquoise colour. And I'm going to colour him in.
And as I'm colouring him in, I imagine he's sending his ziggy-zag messages all over the robot land to his friends.
Okay, have you coloured in your robot now? I've coloured mine in with this light turquoise colour all over except his hands and a few bits and pieces which I want to do a different colour. I hope you can catch up with me. Have you caught up with me now? Okay, now here's a little tip. Because we want him to look solid like a real robot as a three-dimensional robot rather than a flat robot, we want to make the sides, these sides here, a little bit darker in colour. So I use that light turquoise, that one there you see. Now I'm going to use a darker turquoise. I'm going to use this one. and I'm going to colour in all those sides so it's a little bit darker than the front. Looks like he's in a bit of shadow, doesn't he? Okay, so we do the sides on the antennae. We do the sides of his head. Colour them all in. And I'm going to go around his ear because I want to do his ear a different colour. There. Now, can you see how it looks more three-dimensional now? He looks more like a real robot instead of a flat robot, doesn't he? Let's colour in his body as well with this darker colour. It's still a turquoise colour, it's just a darker colour, isn't it? It's not as light. There we go. Is he looking a little bit more solid now? Let's do his feet. And this other one. There. I think that will do. So he's now looking quite solid. Now, what can we do next? I think it would be nice to colour in his eyes. And I'm going to make his eyes even darker. So I'm going to use this dark blue. Colour in his eyes. Again, it's a turquoise blue, but it's a nice dark colour. I like turquoise. Do you like turquoise? You don't have to use turquoise. You can use any colours you want. There we go. Now, I'm going to use orange now. I'm going to use orange to colour in his ear. Colour in his little antennae. And a little trick here is to leave a little bit of white paper showing through. That helps to make it look more solid as well. And let's do his hands. I'm going to make his hands orange as well. I like orange. Do you like orange? What's your favourite colour? I have lots of favourite colours, I do. I like all colours, to be honest. I like purples probably best. And I like blues and turquoises and oranges and yellows. Reds and greens. I am very fond of all the colours. How about colouring in his Bolt orange as well? Let's do that. There we go. And the bolts down here. Okay, I'm happy with him now. But he does look as though he's floating up in the paper, doesn't he? We need to make him look as though he stood on the ground. Give him a little bit of shading underneath him. He looks as though he's stood on the ground now, doesn't he? A little bit of scribbling underneath him. And he looks as though he's on the ground. So now he is finished. But do you know what? We could stop there and say he's finished, but we could give him a whole background, couldn't we? So watch the next video and see how our robot lives. See the landscape he lives in. We'll give him mountains and we'll give him trees and we'll give him a place to be in. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, finish off your robot and see the next video to see him and his landscape that he lives in, this home. Actually, we could even give him a house, couldn't we?
So I hope you enjoyed your class with me today and you are looking forward to the next class, because I know I am. Now I'd like to ask you a big favour. Would you ask your adult to like my channel and share my channel so other children can enjoy it too? And would you ask them to subscribe? I would be very, very grateful for the support. Anyway, thank you again for joining my class and I hope to see you soon. So bye-bye for now. Bye-bye from Nana Lynn. Bye-bye.